Today, we are diving deep, and I mean quite literally, into a story that sits right on that razor's edge between myth and, well, actual history. We're talking about the lost city of Dwarka. It's a tale of a magnificent, almost magical capital from a sacred epic and the modern-day search that went looking for it under the waves.
For centuries, the city of Dwarka was just that, a place of myth, a golden city from a story. But then, archaeologists decided to go looking. And what they found on the seabed? It wasn't a myth, it was stone. They found structures, they found walls.
So, this is where our story really begins. You've got this incredible ancient legend on one side, and a very real, very modern archaeological find on the other. And the connection between them? Well, that's the central mystery we're going to explore. So think about it. The legend tells us about this glorious, impossibly prosperous city, the capital of the Hindu deity Krishna, an absolute marvel. And then you have the find, tangible, solid stone structures sitting on the ocean floor right off the coast of modern India. So the big question, the one we're going to try and unpack, is, are we looking at the same place? Okay, so to really get a handle on this legend, we've got to go back to the source. And that source is one of the world's great epic poems, the Mahabharata. This is the book that gives us the story of Dwarka. Now, this is really, really important. The epic actually has a word for what it is, itihasa. And this is the key, right? Because that doesn't mean myth or story. It's traditionally translated as history, or even more beautifully, thus it was. So right from the beginning, the text is telling us, hey, listen up. This isn't just a fable. This is a record of things that actually happened. I mean, the way the Mahabharata tells it, it's just incredible. Dwarka wasn't some city that just grew over centuries. Nope, it was created, built for Krishna, on land that was literally pulled up from the ocean itself. You have to imagine this divine capital for a divine king, just a shining beacon of splendor. And the Mahabharata, which, by the way, is the longest epic poem ever written, we're talking over 100,000 verses. It goes into incredible detail about Dwarka's glory, but it also gives us this very specific and kind of tragic ending. The story goes that after Krishna left the world, the sea, it just rose up and reclaimed the entire city, swallowed it whole. It's the perfect, dramatic ending to a legend, right? So for literally thousands of years, that was it, an amazing story in a book. But then, in the 20th century, scientists started asking a pretty wild question. What if some part of this is real? What if we actually go and look? And that search kicked off in the 1980s, right off the coast of the modern city of Dwarka, the exact spot the legends point to. But the real breakthrough came in the early 2000s. Using new tech, major underwater surveys revealed something that just blew people away. Huge, clearly man-made structures just lying there under the waves. Okay, so what did they actually find down there? What secrets were waiting in the deep? And this is where it gets really, really interesting. I mean, look at this list. The divers found dressed stone blocks. That means they were cut and shaped by people. Some even had holes drilled in them for dowels, a specific building technique. They found ancient stone anchors, which is a huge clue that this was a port. But maybe the most amazing part? Sonar scans showed a grid-like layout of structures on the seabed. This wasn't just a random pile of rocks. This looked like the foundations of a planned city. But, finding ruins is one thing. Figuring out what they are? Well, that's something else entirely. And this is where the story shifts from pure discovery to a really fascinating and very real scientific debate. So this is really the heart of the mystery right now. On one side, some of the very early proposals suggested these ruins could be incredibly old, maybe even lining up with the timeline of the epic. But the wider archaeological consensus, the mainstream view, is a lot more cautious. Based on things like the style of the anchors they found, most experts think the site is much younger, probably a port from the late medieval period. So you've got these two totally different histories for the exact same underwater ruin. But here is the twist. This is where the science and the legends seem to, well, rhyme. The most likely scientific reason for the city's destruction, coastal erosion, a busy port built right on the edge of a water, was eventually taken back by the water. I mean, come on, that's a perfect echo of how the Mahabharata says Dwarka's story ended. And that really brings us to the most honest place we can land right now.
It's a conclusion that respects both the science and the epic tradition. We have this ancient text that tells of a magnificent city swallowed by the sea, and we have the very real ruins of a city that was swallowed by the sea. The connection isn't proven, not by a long shot, but you just can't deny that parallel.
So, where does that leave us? We're left with this huge, profound question. Are those ruins down there the actual physical remains of Krishna's city, a direct link to one of the world's great epics? Or is the story in the Mahabharata a kind of powerful cultural memory, a story passed down for thousands of years about a real city that was tragically lost to the waves? You know, is it a myth that led us to a real place, or is it the memory of a real place that grew into a powerful myth? The final answer? Well, it's still down there, just waiting.